In this video, we will explore the core principles of Stoicism and how these principles can shape our lives. From mastering our thoughts to living according to personal values, let's explore practical and relatable examples to see the power of this lifestyle in creating outstanding individuals. Before we start the video, for those who haven't seen it, last week I made a video about the important principles of Stoicism, such as focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot control, and many other principles. I'll leave the link at the end of the video for anyone who hasn't watched it. Now, let's get to the main content. The Stoic principle I want to share with everyone today is negative imagination. Although the method's name is negative imagination, its goal is to help us become more positive. At first, when I heard the name of this method, I wasn't very excited because it contains the word negative. However, after thoroughly researching this method, I realized that the benefits of this technique are worth my time to practice. You may not notice, but we are often most vulnerable to things we do not anticipate. For example, if you see your partner frequently flirting with others, then when they break up with you, there is nothing surprising about it. However, if you and your partner are deeply in love and you completely trust them, but suddenly they break up or cheat, then you will understand what it means to experience doubled pain. Based on this, Stoicism advises us to think about the worst-case scenarios to prepare our minds and solutions for them. This is the most valuable technique in the psychological toolkit of Stoics. Specifically, Stoics recommend spending 10 to 15 minutes each morning or evening thinking about the worst-case scenarios. The undesirable circumstances, such as losing loved ones, friends, possessions, or even our health. For example, imagine a day when you receive bad news about your health or that of a loved one. Allow these emotions to spread through your mind, but don't let them consume you. Instead, consider how you would cope with these situations. How would you feel? What would you do to overcome that pain? By practicing negative imagination, we not only prepare for difficult situations but also learn to appreciate what we currently have. When we envision losses, we become more grateful for what we possess, which helps improve our mood and attitude toward life. This method allows us to view life through the lens of impermanence, fostering gratitude and appreciation for what we have. Human nature is greedy and insatiable. When we don't achieve our goals, we yearn and desire to attain them. However, once we conquer a goal, we quickly become bored and take it for granted. We then continue to seek new goals. This is known as the pleasure adaptation effect, creating an endless cycle. Thus, we spend our lives chasing goals and achieving many things, yet we always feel lacking and empty. Recognizing this, Stoics developed the technique of negative visualization to help us break this endless loop. By regularly practicing this habit, we will learn to be grateful and appreciate what we have, no longer rushing like moths to flames toward misguided goals. Many may think this method is pessimistic, but the truth is quite the opposite. Practicing this method helps Stoics become the most optimistic people, even when facing any difficulties or misfortunes. Now, I will compare how our typical negative thinking differs from this method. If previously, our negative thoughts had come mainly unconsciously, we approached them passively, thinking without realizing we were thinking. Moreover, these thoughts primarily focused on bad outcomes, things that generated negative emotions for us, and we hardly took the initiative to find solutions to prevent, overcome, or resolve those situations. As for the method of negative imagination, these are negative images that we actively create ourselves. Stoics recommend setting aside a fixed time each day to practice this method for 10 to 15 minutes. When imagining, they do not focus solely on the negative emotions of the situation. Instead, They devote most of their attention to controlling their reactions and how to address the problem. For example, when imagining losing all their possessions and home, they not only feel the pain of loss at that moment but, more importantly, they envision how they would face and overcome that suffering by understanding that material possessions are impermanent. They can come and go at any time. Additionally, they think about solutions. For instance, they might consider looking for a job to start over. After such a visualization process, they feel more confident knowing that if something unfortunate happens, they are prepared to accept and overcome it. Above all, they will feel more appreciative of what they currently have. A few years ago, I watched a video online that left a strong impression on me. In the video, a Chinese girl shared her romantic experiences. Besides the fact that she is quite beautiful, she also said something that impressed me greatly. She said, "My boyfriend and I have been together for 7 years. And throughout those 7 years, every day I have thought that we might break up tomorrow." At first, when I heard her say that, I found it a bit strange. But after she explained, I understood. Specifically, she said that thinking this way helped her always appreciate her relationship with her boyfriend. By considering that she and her boyfriend might break up at any moment, whenever they had arguments or disagreements, she could put her ego aside and actively seek solutions to their problems. Additionally, this mindset allowed her to cherish every day spent with the person she loved and to treat him as well as she could. Another example that many people may know is that the CEO of Apple, Steve Jobs, the creator of the iPhone that many of you are holding, had a special habit. Every morning, he would stand in front of the mirror and ask himself, "If today were the last day of my life, would I do what I am about to do today?" If the answer was no, for several consecutive days, he knew he needed to make a change. Being aware of death every day helped Steve Jobs understand what was truly important to him. Because when faced with death, all things like money, power, fame, or the opinions of others will disappear, leaving only what is truly important and meaningful to us. There is a story. One day, Steve Jobs had a very important meeting with business partners, which he knew could significantly impact his career. However, on the same day, he also had a date with a woman he had just met. Faced with this situation, he felt torn between two choices: attending the meeting or keeping his promise to the girl. To make a decision, Steve Jobs asked himself, "If today were the last day of my life, what would I do?" After reflecting, he realized that being with someone he felt a special connection with was more important than any meeting. Therefore, he chose to cancel the meeting to meet the girl. Later, this girl became his wife, someone who stood by him during the most important years of his life. Through this, we see how Steve Jobs thought about making important decisions in his life. His awareness of death every day helped him make choices aligned with his values and cherish each day as if it were his last. This reminds me of a famous saying: "The happiest person is the one who lives as if today were their last day." Through today's video, we see that actively imagining negative scenarios and thinking about losses and shortages helps us learn to be grateful and appreciate what we have. This also allows us to escape the feeling of having many things but still feeling lacking and empty inside. Okay, today's video comes to an end. See you all in the next video. And I wish everyone a wonderful day.